I accept responsibility for the mistake. She actually called the person up even prior to this and did sell them the engine for the correct price. We were willing to eat it if need be, but like the guy was like, no, you can't do that. So like we have fantastic clientele that accepts the fact that people make mistakes.
Like if you want to have a closer bond with your employees, with your teammates, break bread with them. It's that simple. It's it's also the reason that we have family dinners as often as we can, right? A lot of us do, right? I mean, there's something to it. There's something to about that bond that happened. Hi, I'm Brad Herlock of the Garage Grit podcast and co-owner of AA Shop Marketing, and I'm here with Kory. So thank you for being on to the podcast, and I'm going to hope that we're going to do some deep dive and some nitty gritty type information on what's going on in shops. But before we get there, I want to actually learn a little bit more about your history and how did you arrive here, right? So let's talk about if you've listened to other episodes with Kory's attendance, you might already know that he's a second generation owner and that it took him 30 years to get a sign out front.
Yeah. Actually, I told that story again yesterday.
What's that?
I told that story again yesterday.
Nice. Perfect. And so, it's a good story and it's on the shop owners panel of October 2025. But as I mentioned, Kory's been on this, he's not a rookie. He's been on it before. So, what was the other panel conversation about? I'd have to go back and look. Do you recall?
Yeah, we did the local government one, and then we did one with, there was 2 or 3 other people on that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And was that one maybe about being a second generation owner? I think that was the very first one that I had done with you.
Yes, that's right. That was back in July of 2024.
Okay.
And it was about being a second generation or third generation owner. Some of them were on that podcast, right?
Yep.
So that was also a good conversation. I want to say one of the other panelists was also from Michigan. I'm not certain, but I want to say that was also the case.
I know that there was one of the guys I think was from Iowa because like we'll email back and forth still once in a great while.
Oh, good. Well, I like to hear that as well, because that's one of the hopes and goals of the podcast is to try to create more conversations with other shop owners so that we can kind of say, hey, this is what's going on in the industry, or hey, this is what's going on in other shops. Hey, this matches what I'm doing, or maybe I can fine tune my process a little bit. And so that's our hope here. So that's good and positive to hear. So thank you for that. But let's talk about this. When did your dad get into the industry, or maybe that was before you even started?
Yeah. So he opened up the shop. He actually bought an old repair shop in 1974. That was kind of actually across the street from where we are right now. I think he was there for maybe 2 or 3 years, and he bought another one kind of on the other side of town. And I mean, my timeline's a little bit messed up, but like very shortly thereafter, his original building burnt down. So he was working out of the one that was across town, like kind of what would have been his second location. So then he rebuilt basically an exact replica of what he had before: 2 bays, 1 or 2 little full service gas pumps, and a very dingy, like exactly what you'd expect from a 70s auto repair shop kind of waiting.
I was going to say mid 70s, early 80s auto repair shop. Okay.
Everything is dirty. Like there's a cash drawer that you use a key on, and like all the guys had keys in their pocket and, all that jazz. Like you had the chain that was running because that was just kind of the thing way, way, way back in the 70s. And, and then once he rebuilt it, the 2 stores thing kind of like didn't work out real well for him. So I don't know if he sold it or just closed it. That building's actually still there. What was his second location is just a Marathon gas station now. And, let me think. So he was in that building. I mean, basically other than like the fire thing from 74 until, I don't know, I was 10. So 1989, he built a gas station with a C-store and all of that. And still same thing, 2 bays of auto repair on one end, and then a gas or a C-store on the other side to get pop and candy and hot dogs and all that stuff, coffee. And then he had, I think, 3 islands for gas. So one on either side. So he went from 1 full service to 6 pumps. And then
Yeah.
there was 1 bay of that was still full serve. Other than that, it
Yeah.
was self-serve.
Jeez. I mean, even then, I don't know. I feel like the industry was already starting to shift away from gas at that point, 89, 90.
Yeah.
But
Well, it didn't
you
take
double down on it.
Yeah, it didn't take long. He was in that building for 6 years, and then he built the building we're in now across the road and got out of gas entirely. And then he built 4-bay shop. So I guess that math would be like 1994 or 95, something like that. And at that time, I don't know, like whatever repair company or corporation or association he was a part of, like basically said this is an amazing shop. And it was on the front cover of a bunch of magazines and stuff like that. 4-bay auto repair, independent auto repair shop was like, no, that was I don't know, I guess kind of unheard of. Even though like up the road, there was an 8-bay independent auto repair facility too. But like for whatever reason, my dad's was on the cover of a bunch of magazines.
Interesting. Fun. All right. Well, but back in, I bet you in the early to mid 80s, well, at least in the mid 80s, you were starting to be a part of the shop. Am I right with that?
I mean, yeah, in kindergarten, I would go there and pump gas.
But
he had,
can you imagine right now, 2025, 2026, can you imagine going up to, say you're in Jersey, where they actually require someone else to pump your gas for you as opposed to letting you do it yourself, right?
Yep.
I think that's still a rule in Jersey.
Yep, it is. Yeah, we were there last summer, and that's a thing.
Yeah. Can you imagine if a kindergartner or anyone under the age of 10, under a 5th grader coming in and pumping your gas, people would be sounding the alarms.
Yeah. No, and that's what we did. And, I was telling you before, like, I don't remember how I got there. I don't remember if I walked because I didn't ride a bus until like 6th grade. So I don't know if I walked or just rode my bike because it was only like a mile or a mile and a half away.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, that intersection was a 4-way stop. 2 lanes in either direction. It was a 4-way stop. Okay. Well, now it's 6 lanes in either direction and there's lights all over the place.
Right.
But
wait till they tear it all down and do a roundabout.
Don't even go there. Roundabouts. No.
I'm sorry.
No.
Anyway. All right. So, all right. So I'm just thinking about that. And I'm thinking about how, like I said, like, yeah, it's almost disappointing because there are times when my young son would like, Dad, I want to work. I'm like, you can't. No one's going to let you work, and you can work around the house. Well, that's not the same. Well, anyway. So, but I imagine that there are people who are finding ways to have their young children help out around the shop. And if you're doing that, please reach out to me. I'm kind of curious. I want to hear those stories. But back to you, Kory. So you were pumping gas, and that's all you were doing until when? And what did you do next?
Cleaning, I remember like he had a candy machine and he had a cigarette machine too that took quarters.
Okay.
And I would regularly, I would have to dig out pictures, but I remember my mom showed me a picture because I would crawl underneath those machines, and like when the adults would drop coins, they wouldn't get them.
Right.
So like,
it hurts her back to bend that low.
Yeah. I would crawl underneath there and get all that stuff. And, like that was kind of one of my other little tasks, but,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you were not buying the cigarettes for yourself. That's good.
No, not at kindergarten or 1st grade. That was just not my thing. So,
okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah. And then I think I was 15 and my dad got me a job at an oil change place, like around the corner from my house where we lived at that time.
Interesting. Not at your place, at your dad's place.
No, he was staffed. He was staffed, and I'm like, I want to start changing oil for you. And he's like, well, you can't work for me, but you can work for the Quick Lube around the corner. He's like, I'll call him and tell him you want to go work for him. And so I would wake up in the morning in the summer and just walk there. Or I had a car. Once in a while, my mom and dad would let me drive my car up there because I didn't have a driver's license or anything yet. But so they would let me just drive up there sometimes. But yeah, so
ChatGPT, what's the statute of limitations for driving without a license?
Well, as long as it's less than or more than 30 years, I guess I'll be all right. But
all right, so but I really found that interesting. That's the dad said, I don't have any spaces for you.
Yeah.
Was he surprised that you were asking? Like, I would have thought that he would have been thinking about this.
I don't know. I mean, that's a question. Unfortunately, I can't ask him anymore. Like he's not around any longer. But,
Okay. I'm sorry to hear.
yeah, no, it's fine. I appreciate that though. But yeah, I think I worked there. I worked there my junior year, my entire junior year. Man, I haven't thought about this part in a while. My entire junior year of high school, I worked there. So the summer before, and then my entire junior year, and then part of that summer after, because then after that, then I did go to work for him because I had work release for high school, my senior year of high school. So I would go to school for like 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and then I would go there and work basically like the equivalent of a full-time job my senior year in high school. And then it was, yeah, you know, there was no training or anything like that. It's like, here's my tools. Go put a radiator in that car. Go do brakes on that car. Go do tires. Um, One thing, oh, I take that back. He was really adamant about me learning how to do dash work because he was a big guy and he didn't want to do it. So I was tearing apart dashes at 16 years old, 17 years old. That's probably the one thing I did do for him at night. I would go there and do that, and steering columns. He had too big of hands to deal with all the little parts in there. So like, I remember like the mid 80s Chevy trucks with the steering columns will all always come loose. I could rebuild those things in my sleep by the time I graduated high school. And, which actually helped me on later in life after I stopped working for my dad for a little while. But, yeah. So, I'm sorry. So, I worked for my dad after high school for a little while, and then I ended up going to work at a Chevy garage. Like about as far away from Hudsonville, which is where I lived at the time, because I didn't want to work someplace that would compete with my dad. But I also, at that point in time, I couldn't work for him any longer or work with him any longer because like we had a horrible relationship. We just like, we couldn't differentiate like father, son, work, boss, all of that. Like it was beyond bad. And, I just took it upon myself. At that point, I was married and I was like coming home every day complaining to my wife. And she's like, you got to do something different. You got to do something different. So
you got married at like 20 or 21 years old?
22. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in your early 20s, and so you've worked with your dad at this point for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That tracks with other stories that I've heard.
Yeah.
And,
but then I settled in at this little Chevy garage, and they had a medium duty shop in the back and a regular light duty shop up front. And it was me and two other guys that did all of it. And, the medium duty trucks, they had that old school steering column in them. And everyone you get in, because the guys were just so used to it, like you could take the whole steering wheel and move it around like that. And, I remember telling my boss, I'm like, George, why don't we fix this? He's like, well, the guys don't want to buy steering columns. I'm like, why would you sell them a steering column? Like, we can fix this in a couple of hours. And that was like, I was being introduced to flat rate at that point in time. I'd never worked flat rate before. And, I mean, that's a whole different discussion too, but,
well, let's go there now. Let's take a break from the story and go to
Sure.
and go there. Like, are you, let's talk flat rate versus other options. Let's go.
I mean,
hourly versus.
when I was an employee, I loved it. I mean, like, I was young. I would go to work early. I would work late if I had to. I mean, it wouldn't be uncommon for me to turn 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 hours. And I mean, the last place I worked at before I bought my dad's business out, they basically gave me like free reign. You can come and go as you please, as long as your production doesn't drop. But that was at an Acura store. Like, they're the easiest cars on the planet to work on. And, but I think, I mean, there's definitely places for flat rate. I don't necessarily think it's at an independent store that doesn't have space for just parts hangers and just like diagnosticians or just alignment or tire guys. Now I have 7 bays in one building and 4 in another. And I'm still like, I don't think that there's space for just those particular skill sets. So to ask somebody to go from a Ford F-150 to a Mini Cooper to a Volkswagen to a Chevy 3/4 ton, like, and do it flat rate, I would much rather pay them hourly with like a production bonus. So you make a good living for sure. And then like your monthly bonus is a bonus.
Okay.
So.
And so you're saying that the smaller independent shops, or fewer than 10 bays. When I say small, I mean that's still a good sized shop.
Sure.
Um, you're saying that flat rate. You don't think flat rate's a good way to go because it penalizes the employer and penalizes the shop
No,
owner.
I think it penalizes the employee. I think it puts
Okay.
way too much stress on them. I'm sure I'm going to get massacred. Like, I'm sure my phone this afternoon, I don't know if this is live or not, but like
It's not live.
I got buddy shop owners that are like, that's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, everybody should be flat rate or on some kind of incentive pay. And I'm like, I agree. The incentive pay is fine. But to ask that, I just think it's unrealistic, and I think it's really unfair.
Well, let's give a shout out to. So here's what I'm going to do before we publish this. I'm going to give you a heads up, and that way you can turn your phone on mute before the calls start coming in. But let's play the devil's advocate. Let's actually allow that other argument. Like you said that the answer is that's stupid. You need to have incentivized work, and your response is still have incentives, but give them a solid, consistent base. But I want to talk that through. Like, what else would they say to you when you responded with, yes,
Well,
incentives, just
I mean,
not flat rate incentive?
What incentive is it for them to actually come in and work hard if you're going to pay them $30 or $40 or $50 an hour? And, that's where, like, you have like shop production bonuses for everybody. So like, when the whole shop hits this number, we get something. When the whole shop hits this number, we get this something. Like my lead tech, he gets the hours for his bonus at mine, and he gets the hours he produces plus the GS plus one of our other techs that needs a little bit more guidance, and then, like, we also like use efficiencies in his multipliers. So like the reason you want to work harder is because like you want to get that brake job that pays 2 hours, you get it done in an hour. And if you're 200% efficient, like, I'll just use easy math. This is how I always explain it to my people when I'm interviewing them, like, and the numbers are fake, but like, let's just say you make $1.50 an hour for each hour you produce. And if you're on the clock for 40 hours and you turn 40 hours, you're 100% efficient. Your bonus for that week was $60. Okay. If in that same 40 hours you turn 80, you're 200% efficient. So you take the 80, that $1.50 an hour, your bonus is $120. Okay. But you're 200% efficient. So you double it. So now your bonus is $240. Okay. So, when you start making $3 or $4 or $5 an hour and you have 150% efficiency, your bonus, and we don't pay it weekly, we pay it monthly. So when you get a bonus and it's $1,500 or $2,000, like, that's the reason to work hard. And then like the comebacks is like, we finesse the comeback stuff. So like, you still are going to get paid. You're going to get paid your hourly wage. You're going to get some version of credit for like the time you're spending on it. So it doesn't just completely destroy your efficiency numbers for the week, because like, nobody's perfect. And there's got to be like a human aspect to it too.
So, for a couple of things that I heard there. One was, wish you're measuring this per week, not per month.
So
what happens when weeks?
but I mean, what happens when
the comeback happens the week after?
Yeah, we measure it all up monthly. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I use week because it's easier math.
Okay.
But like, the bonus is paid out monthly.
Okay.
And it's always like the pay period after the month ends. You know what I mean?
So it sounds to me like you're paying them more than you would have on just flat rate. This is more expensive to the shop owner.
I mean, probably. But you also kind of figured, like, you're going to make a good living. But if you were to go to a flat rate shop, you might make $75 an hour. Like, I can't afford to pay you $75 an hour, but I can pay you 30, 40 or 50 or whatever it is based on skill set. And then the bonus is extra, like 10 years
ago. And does the bonus end up being more than the 75-hour equivalent?
Oh, no. Well, I guess that's kind of hard to say, because I don't do payroll anymore. So I guess I should ask my wife that question, or ask one of my guys. But
what I'm trying to explore is this: should a shop who is saying, hey, I'm currently flat, but now I want to explore the Kory methodology, like, am I going to be spending, is it going to cost me more, or is it going to cost me less?
I mean,
if my efficiency stays exactly where it currently is, right? Whatever that is, like that, and
yeah.
that's
I
really the
mean, like
question.
my challenge to that would be is if shop culture improves and it costs me $10,000 a year, I'm okay with that. I would say it's no different than why do I go to you to get my brakes done for $300 or $400 or $500 when I can go to Lentz or Monroe or Midas and get them done for $75 less? It's like
Were
general peace
were
of
you
mind.
ever were you ever flat rate at your shop currently?
No,
How many years have you been there? That you've been
10,
running things?
10 years.
Okay, so you were never flat rate.
Mm-mm.
Then you had already your dad had shifted over to this new model
My dad,
before you took.
was never flat rate. He never paid
Okay,
anybody flat rate.
okay, so you went from just hourly to hourly with incentives. So everybody loved this change.
Well, there was nobody. So like when I bought the place, I was there by myself for a whole year. I had no employees. I mean, it was just me. Like I answered the phone, I set the appointments, I did the work, I wrote the tickets, I collected the money. Um, my wife did the books at night on the couch. And I didn't hire my first employee for a full year. And even then, like he was, I don't think he was full time right away because he was still in college. But he was like 3/4 time. He probably was still close to 40 hours a week because he was a really hard worker. So like I gave him a key to the building the very first day he was there. And I'm like, I'm
Mm,
going home. I'm done. I'm tired. And he's like, can I keep working? And I'm like, sure, do what you got to do.
nice,
So, um,
nice.
yeah,
You stay in touch with him?
yeah, yeah. He worked for me for 3.5 years. We didn't part very well. And I'll say that was 99% my fault. We didn't talk to each other for probably another 3.5 or 4 years after that. And then I started this West Michigan shop owner group. One of the people in the group, because we started out with like 4 people, and he showed up as like the fifth. And we did the whole meeting. He didn't say anything to me. I didn't say anything to him. And then afterwards, like we both kind of like meandered over next to each other and we're like, sorry, like this is stupid, because he's a great tech, a really good guy,
And
and
he
we're
owns
going
his
to
own
be,
shop.
I'm sorry.
And he owns his own shop
And he
now.
owns his own shop now. Yeah. So like, why, why are we letting something that happened that long ago that was dumb then affect how we
Yeah.
are now?
Well, good.
So,
Well, I'm glad that
yeah,
you had that attitude. I'm glad he had that attitude.
yeah, yeah, it's worked out well.
And I'm wondering if I should do a shop owners panel specifically, not just talking about the different types of how to pay techs, but I think it's more interesting to talk about how to change. I think that's the more interesting conversation.
Changing
If
a
you
pay
are
plan.
currently, yeah,
Yeah.
like from flat rate to hourly plus incentives. I mean, there are some changes where I just feel like it's easier to fire and hire new people than it is to try to change. And I
Yeah.
hope this isn't one of them because I hear every day there's a tech shortage out there, right? So
Well, I
you
think
can't just really reboot.
anytime you start messing with somebody's pay, like you gotta,
Yeah.
you gotta, you gotta have some real background in it, so you can't come in on Monday and be like, hey guys, here's the new pay plan. Suck it up. Like you gotta have 3, 4, 5, 6 months of the math done prior to, and then you can sit them down and be like, this is how it's going to be going forward. And this is why we made the change. And had we made this change back 6 months ago, this is how your pay would have been different. Maybe not
Mm.
more, maybe not less, just different.
Yeah.
And
So it better make sure those Excel spreadsheet formulas are correct.
yeah,
Because if in 6 months they don't match up, they're going to be pissed.
right.
They're going to be gone too.
So I never changed the payroll for my techs, but I changed it for my advisors. Again, because when I hired my first advisor, I didn't really have any idea what I was doing. So I just said, whatever, you're going to make X amount of dollars per hour and you're going to get 2% of gross sales. And that was tires, batteries, brakes, steering, suspension, like engines. It didn't matter. Well, if we sold $100,000 that month, gross sales, your bonus was $2,000. And I mean, it was fine, and still until it's Well, now we got to hire another advisor because we're busy.
Yeah.
So now do
And
you take that 2% and do you divide it amongst each of them, or do you now
yeah,
pay each of them 2%? And then,
eventually there's going to be no percentage if you have 10 people up front.
yeah. So I was like, so I'm just like, okay. So, my coaching group that I work with Aaron at the Institute, and he was like, this is a whole bunch of different plans. And, him and I chit chatted and like, this is the one we decided on. And I did that. Like I went back several months and I'm like, giving these numbers, this would have been your pay then. 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 So like nothing is going to be changing money wise. Like you're going to be within pennies. We're just using a different formula so that it's easier for me to do the math at the end of each week because now there's two of you. Okay. And they were like, oh, okay, no problem. Well, I mean, literally the very first payroll, somehow I changed one of the algorithms on one of the math equations on the how the GP was calculated. And Nicole and Allie both came and they're like, I don't think our paycheck is right. And I'm like, oh, okay. Unfortunately, we had the relationship where they weren't like, screw you, pay me. They're like, let's sit down and figure this out. So I brought it up and I showed him, I gave him access to the equation, like the spreadsheet, like you can have it. Like you have 100% access to it 24/7. And we punched the numbers in and it was right. And they're like, but the math does, like, I'm doing the same math on my phone. And like the math isn't mathing correctly. So I'm like, oh crap. So like, I'm not the best at spreadsheets, it's a little over my head. So I ended up actually calling Aaron and I'm like, hey, like they showed me like this math is not right. And it took him like 2 minutes because he's smarter than what I am on that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, this equation got changed.
Okay.
Well, it got changed before I did like the 6 months of math. So like everything that I had presented them was wrong.
Right. Okay.
So then I had to immediately go in and be like, okay, I want you to trust me. Like, I'm not trying to screw anybody over. Like if I have to give you money to come to work on Monday, like I'll do that. That's fine. But like, I just want to make sure it's all right. So I had to go back in and like correct all of my mistakes. And then I ended up basically, I'm trying to think what it was. Like I was off like 3 or 4% once the equation was correct. So then I just like changed a couple of things around and were able to make it all match just fine. And it works out fine now. It was just,
okay.
It was,
you ate some of that. Your mistake. Your mistake was their favor a little bit by a couple of percentage.
Yeah. And I'm like,
all right,
I don't know what it was. Like I probably gave them each like $500 or $600 just to get through the weekend because I just want to make sure y'all come into work on Monday. And that's worth some extra money in my mind.
Sure.
And then
are they still with you?
I'm sorry.
Are both of them still? Are both of those two advisors with you?
Yep.
Nice.
Allie is now my GM, and Nicole is basically like our lead advisor, and we're interviewing for another advisor right now. Actually, tonight I have an interview with another advisor.
Where are you going to find that advisor, or where are you finding that advisor? Was it an ad in Indeed, or did you you went to a restaurant and you said, you are a great server and should be working at my shop instead of this restaurant?
It's funny. No, we've always gone to Indeed, but we did have, like on Sunday nights, we go to dinner at this little restaurant up the road. And then we had the same server for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks in a row. And I told my wife, I'm like, I'm going to offer her a job. And she was like, oh, I'm flattered. I'm in town for school. Like I graduate in May or whatever it was like that. And then I'm going home. And I'm like, crap, that sucks. But, yeah, we found Allie on Indeed. I've had really good luck with Indeed.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a commercial for Indeed. Indeed, check this out. Listen to the Garage Grip podcast. But So have you ever tried to hire someone directly from, other than that one story? Have you successfully hired anyone from the hospitality arena?
Well, I mean, none of my advisors or really none of my selling staff have any automotive background at all.
Okay. So how did you find them on Indeed, or did they find you?
They found me on Indeed. Allie was a Amazon delivery, like a van driver. She worked retail at like gas stations and was a gas station manager at one point in time. But she was 21 when I first hired her, and 22 maybe, and just was like, "Oh, that place is going to pay me $1 an hour more. I'm out. That place is going to pay me $1 an hour more. I'm out." And we actually joke about this pretty often. Like, I didn't hire her initially. Like, I actually called her up and I said, "Hey, we're going to go in a different direction. You're our second choice. But so if something comes up in the future, like, I'd like to give you a call." Come to find out, telling people they're their second choice, they're your second choice, I'm being told is like the worst thing in the world to do, even though I've done it with everybody I've ever hired ever. And then that person backed out, and I called Allie back, and I'm like, "I changed my mind. I'd like to hire you." And I didn't really change my mind. That person backed out that I initially offered to.
Yeah, your mind was changed for you.
Yeah. And then she was like, "Well, let me think about it and call you back."
Yeah.
At which point I called my wife panicking because I thought, no one wants to come work for me. And then a couple hours after that, she did call me back and she did accept the position. And it was a steep learning curve, that's for sure. She was super tech savvy. So like learning the shopware point of sale system was easy. It was importing parts, getting the correct parts. I mean, she sold an engine job one time and didn't put the engine on the ticket. Didn't even like put.
Can I take that job, please? Can you charge me for that, please?
So, I saw it. We ordered the parts, and and then I went over it, and I'm like, that just looks awful low. And this was a couple years ago, before used motors were 10 grand, and I just like, I mean, I ended up writing her up, and I was pretty upset about it. And I'm like, we can't do this job for $3,000 in the hole. And so like she had a little bit of a come to Jesus moment, and now she tells me, like, I went home that night and I updated my resume and I sent it out to a whole bunch of people, and I was going to quit on Monday. And yeah, like she went home and did all that and went to church on Sunday morning and talked to a bunch of her church friends, and like they all prayed about it, and came to work on Monday and was like a completely different person, like literally overnight. Just like, I accept responsibility for the mistake. She actually called the person up even prior to this and did sell them the engine for the correct price. We are willing to eat it if need be, but like the guy was like, "No, you can't do that." So like we have fantastic clientele that accepts the fact that people make mistakes. And but yeah, like, I mean, literally over that weekend, she came in on Monday. She's like, "I'm all in. I'm not job jumping anymore for $1. I'm not doing any of that stuff any longer. Like, I'm all in." And so we just pour into our employees as best as what we can, especially when they come in and say, like, "I'm going to go 120% from now on." And yeah, Nicole is our other advisor. She was a client at the shop prior to. Said multiple times, "If you ever want to need a second advisor, like, let me know." And every time we asked, she was like, because she has 4 kids. She like either just had a baby, or like, life is too busy and I need to make sure I have consistency and all of that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And we had a position open, and honestly, I had completely forgotten about her because like enough time had passed. And we had crappy interview after crappy interview after crappy interview. And then she came in and she was buying tires. And I went up, I'm like, "Hey, Nicole, how's it going?" And I'm like, "You want to be a service advisor for me? You can start tomorrow." And she's just like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're hiring for an advisor." "Oh, well, I've been thinking about," because she was a real estate agent. She's like, "I've been kind of like kicking the idea around of not doing this full time anymore." And I'm like, "I'm not going to actually offer you the job. Like, I would like for you to come in and interview." And yeah, so she went home, talked to her husband. Same thing as Allie, like prayed about it. Her and her husband came in and were like, "Yeah, she wants to do this job." And her first day was actually Christmas Eve of 2024. We were open until like 2 o'clock or something on Christmas Eve, and we had like a super skeleton staff. And I'm like, "I think if you're okay with it, like that first day would be perfect, because it's going to be ultra low key. It's not going to be high pressure at all. You can learn the point of sale system really easily, and I'll work with you for like those 4.5 or 5 hours that were open." And she's like, "Okay, that's fine." So yeah, her first day was Christmas Eve. And then yeah, the Friday prior to that, we had like a dinner and for the whole shop. And I'm like, I know you technically you haven't started yet, but if you and your husband want to come, you can. So they did. And nobody knew who she was. Like, well, who is she? I'm like, oh, this is Nicole. She's the new advisor. And everybody's like, oh, that's great. So, I mean, it was fun. Gave us all an opportunity to meet her husband and,
Yeah.
them both to like kind of see everybody. And, it was good.
How often do you do meals with your team?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday I grill out for them.
Okay.
Every once in a while, like either I'm for some reason I still get Wednesdays as lunch day. It's literally been like that for 9 years. But
Okay.
so they're like, we'll order out, or if they're like, hey, we're kind of tired of burgers and hot dogs, then they'll get whatever, pulled pork or
Okay.
or pizza or order from the Italian restaurant up the road. And then any month that we hit our sales goal, I cook steaks.
Nice. Nice. I don't know if it sounds cheesy or not, but I don't think it sounds cheesy. It makes perfect sense to me. Like the expression of breaking bread. Like if you want to have a closer bond with your employees, with your teammates, break bread with them. It's that simple. It's it's also the reason that we have family dinners as often as we can, right? A lot of us do, right? I mean, there's something to it. There's something to about that bond that happens that I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we're just that simple of creatures that when you when you feed us, we smile.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
there's something to it.
for sure. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I think it's so I'm glad to hear that you guys do. You don't just have those Christmas dinners; you have that on a weekly basis, and you're constantly building those bonds, building those relationships.
I mean,
key.
it's kind of a two things. I mean, like, yeah, they eat lunch and all that stuff together, but we do like lunch and learns. So we're watching like Scanner Danner videos or Super Mario videos or, whoever it is. Andrew Tick is taking control of that and make sure there's a 45-minute to an hour long video that's playing. And I would say
Sometimes it's fun, but a lot of times it's educational.
The idea of it is for it to be educational, but sometimes the volume gets turned down and they end up just screwing around the whole time. So
Okay,
that's fine, don't you?
right. Again, you're bonding.
Yeah.
The bond that is actually more important maybe than the education.
I just try to ask, like, don't be on your phone.
Be present with the people that you're eating next to. Be present.
Yeah, like don't sit and scroll when like, hey, I really want you guys to watch this video, or let's like just put your phone down for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you let your employees have their phones while they're at their stations?
Oh yeah. They use it for inspections. They use them for everything.
Okay. And so you haven't had a situation where the drama at home is bleeding into the bay.
I mean, I'm sure I have, but I mean, they're humans. I mean, if it's yeah, I mean, if like they're gonna bring their home life to work, so it's like I check in with them, and Allie checks in with them, and they prefer her checking in than me checking in, I'm sure. But yeah, it's just I mean, like they all have such a really good relationship with each other. They don't all always hang out with each other, but a couple of like the wives are friends and become friends, and so yeah, if there's something going on at home, I mean, I don't necessarily want to know about it, but I mean, at the same time, I want them to know if there's something I can help them with. If you need a day off, or if you need to, whatever, like borrow a car for moving, or you need to do this or that, like if I can help you, or if you think I can help you, I mean, you can ask me one-on-one, text message, phone call, out in front of everybody. Like, it doesn't really matter to me.
Right. Okay. So you had one employee after 3 or 4 years.
After 1 year.
I'm sorry?
After that was like basically almost
you were by yourself for 1 year, and then you had him for 3 years?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Seth worked me.
And then after 3 or so years, it was just you again, or did you replace him immediately? So what I'm trying to bridge is going from just you to just the college kid and you to him leaving on bad terms to where you're at today.
So
fill that timeline.
Yeah. So I hired Seth. A month later, I hired I don't remember if it was Luke or Justin, but then a month later I hired whichever one wasn't first. I don't remember the
Okay.
order. And
So in 2 months after
yeah,
the other shop
we went
owner, who
from
was a college kid at the time, you replaced him with 2 people.
we went from so no, we hired Seth after a year. A month after that, I hired Luke and Justin. So now we went from 1 to 4. All right, and then let me think. So they were Luke and Justin were both high school kids. One of them had Luke, I think, had work release. So he was his senior year, he could come in at noon and then work all day. Justin did not. So he kind of maintained like that cleaning kid role, but was like uber talented in like parts swapping. Like Justin put the shock on that car. Like he could do it, no questions asked. Like he could do it really well. Some getting in over his head because like it was a little bit more involved job that probably I shouldn't have given him, but I was always able to work his way out of it with like very little assistance. Um, so when he ended up graduating high school, he worked for me that summer and then he quit and he went to Michigan State. Luke stayed on. He went to GRCC, the local community college, for 2 years. He worked, went part-time there and then went and worked for me still like pretty much full-time. So let me think that. And then it was me and Luke and Seth. And then let me think. I'm sorry. I realized today, like, I don't remember the names of all the people that I've had work for. But we ended up having, by the time Seth left, I had 3 other full-time techs working for me. And we had my building and we kind of leased the back half of a tire shop up the street. So we had like 1.5 more bays up there. So I would have like 2 people there and 2 people by me. And I was still wrenching on the cars all day. So like I enjoyed doing that. So then yeah, we had Luke is actually still with me today. He went from 15-year-old kid to ASE certified master. I think he has L1 and L2. I don't remember that for sure, but now he's married. He's got 2 kids. He bought a house. And is, yeah, super happy and super content.
Wait, so I need to back up even further because I just realized that I missed a piece of it. When it was just you, like you had purchased the shop from your dad at that point?
Yep.
Just flat out said, here's the money, go away.
I mean, not exactly. I mean, I didn't have any money. I was a mechanic. Not that I didn't have any money. I wasn't very good at budgeting my money. So
right.
we ended up getting an SBA loan through the state of Michigan.
Okay.
And everybody.
So it was a clean break. There wasn't a collaboration effort of ownership.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it. And when he was there, was it just him when you bought it out?
Yes and no. I mean, for the most part, it was just him. He was 65 years old. He didn't have any.
So he had some part-time help.
Yeah, like he would literally be like, put an ad on Craigslist and be like, hey, I need someone to come and do this job because like I'm too old to do it and I don't feel like doing it.
Okay. Yeah, very, very part-time per job.
Yeah.
Part-time. Okay.
But that ended up, it worked out really well for everybody.
Okay. All right. So now we're 5 years in of you owning the shop. You've got 4 or 5 employees, it sounds like.
Yep.
And where are we at now? Has it been steady growth or has it been leaps? Slow leap, slow
so
leap.
It was like 8 years of leaping, like massive amounts of growth every single year.
Okay.
Last year we basically were steady. Like I think our gross sales, if you want to measure it by that was like down like $15,000 or $20,000 over the course of the year.
Okay.
So I don't know, whatever there's a 0.5% or something like that.
Okay.
And then this year we're up like 6 or 8%.
Okay. You're kind of in stabilized mode.
Yeah,
it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much like the belt.
So how many technicians do you have now?
We have 6.
Give us the whole layout of your staff, by the way. The technicians, the service advisors.
So we have 6 techs, one of which is a GS, so general service, oil change, brakes, tires, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Which I guess we do oil changes and alignments for like the GS role, and then the brakes is like secondary because like there's just too much liability having a new kid do brakes. And in all reality, we have them learn alignments before we have them even doing oil changes because I don't want them blowing up an engine. Um, it's just easier to double check alignment stuff than it is oil change stuff in most cases. So that's how we do it. But now, yeah, now he's doing oil changes, brakes, tires, stuff like that. And then I have 5 other full-time, fully certified techs. And then I have 2 advisors. Allie is still acting as one of those 2 advisors. And then Nicole is the other main advisor. And then I have Marty. She's like our CSR. She's phones, does follow-up phone calls, day before reminders, responds to emails, text messages that we get through Shop Genie, and whatever other versions that people find to communicate with us. She's kind of like our communications person. And then we're hopefully hiring another advisor soon. And then Allie will.
You're almost 1-to-1.
Try to be. So, well, I mean, as far as actually writing, though, like Marty doesn't write any tickets at all. She'll take appointments and.
No, I get that, right? But if we're deciding that the service advisors are the front side of the shop, if we're saying this is the shop and this is the front side of the shop, that you're almost 1-to-1.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
I mean, you're currently 4 to 6.
Yeah,
and you're about to hire another one.
So I'm trying to get myself out of like the day-to-day at all. So I'm just like, just the owner, and like I want to make sure there's 15 to 20 cars in the parking lot every single day.
Okay.
The day-to-day stuff will go more towards to Allie. So like she'll hopefully write way less tickets. Probably 0. And then,
all right, so she's becoming more of a manager. So yeah, that's not necessarily. I don't know if we want to call that the front end of the shop or not, but she's becoming more of the managerial side.
She has the title right now, general manager is what, you know, because like I don't know, whatever, everybody's got to have a title, so that's just what we gave her. And you know, but she writes, I don't know, 2 or maybe 2 to 4 tickets a day, whereas Nicole's doing like 8 to 10.
Okay.
And then I'll help if need be. But for the most part, whenever I try to help, I just mess something up because they have their own processes in place.
They have their own processes in place. Are those processes in place that are written down somewhere or recorded somewhere so that that you could just slide in Sally to read the process and then do the process?
Yep.
And Sally being a make-up name of just
course.
a random person?
Yep. Yeah, they are. They are. And then, you know, they adapt.
And how do you have them written down?
On Google Sheets. Google Sheets.
Yep. So people actually have to sit and read as opposed to watch a YouTube video or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard about people doing it like that. I mean, I guess Google now has the option what will read it to you. So, you know, then you can kind of get it audio and visually. But, you know, as far as, you know, like Shopper actually has like really good YouTube videos for how to do a lot of the basic functions on their tickets.
Okay.
That's our point of sale system. So as far as like writing up tickets, like we have it literally stepped out one piece at a time. Or
I'm sorry, for those that didn't quite hear, what is your sales management?
Shopware.
Or your shop management?
Shopware.
Yep. Shopware. And they're the ones with those good videos that you're talking about.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And they have them all on YouTube.
Okay.
And, you know, like they're constantly updating. So it might be a little bit outdated, but like the basic idea is all there. So, you know, whenever we do have a new hire on that role, it's like, here's 20 YouTube videos and they're going to take you 3 hours to watch them all. Here's all of our processes. You can read them over so you don't come in completely blind. And then, you know, our techs give parts lists and they know if it's a little bit more trickier part to find, then it's like they'll actually go in and be like, here's the part for this car. Then you just put it in and price it out.
So I heard you say earlier a moment ago that the GS is doing the alignments, and my mind went to who's monitoring. I can't imagine the GS is monitoring when this needs an ADAS calibration. So who's actually paying attention to that?
That's going to be whichever tech said that car needs an alignment. You know, if the car comes in and client goes, hey, my car needs an alignment, it's pulling. Like our process isn't, okay, we're going to put an alignment on it. Like we just don't do things that way. Like we do what we call like a pre-alignment inspection, because like you don't want to do that on a car that has blown out struts or loose ball joints or loose tie rods. and that's going to go to one of our main techs. And then they're going to say,
Okay.
yep, everything in the front end is good. However, that's a 22 Ford F-150. You got to do a camera calibration after the alignment. That's a 21 Audi. You got to do the front radar calibration after the alignment.
Okay. And who's doing that a lot? Who's doing that calibration? Who's actually running it up against the ADA? Because people don't know this, but you actually have a spot in your shop specifically designated for this.
Yeah, we have another.
So
our other building up the road. We have 40 by 60 area that's flat and open and all bleach. Well, it's not bleach white anymore. It was originally, but that they can do the ADAS calibrations in that, and that. Luke
and who's doing
Tyler? I'm sorry, Luke and Andrew do 95% of them. Tyler can. He just doesn't like doing them as often. So the other guys.
I'm sorry, is Tyler the GS?
No, Tyler's just one of the other techs. No, I don't want the GS doing it.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And all right, so the technicians are the ones that are raising that flag for when that needs to be done after the calibration, after the alignment's been done. Okay, so and how's that going with sharing that with the customers? I can't imagine there's a lot of, thank goodness you get to realign my radar. Like,
no, most of the time they're like, I don't understand that. I don't know what that means. My car doesn't have that. So it takes some education. And, Nicole and Ellie do a really good job at that kind of stuff. When I tend to be a little bit too blunt, I don't necessarily have all the best tones or empathy when it starts coming to explaining that kind of stuff. So I do my best to let them do that.
I don't know. I think you should record the next time you do it so that we can have a how not to do it video for your team in the future.
Yeah, I catch.
Let's contrast Nicole versus.
Yeah, I catch enough flack for like helping, so I don't really need that out there into the world.
Okay, all right. And what kind of motivated you to get into the ADAS spot? There's so many shops that have kind of kicked it around, and then there's other shops that are like, I'm not getting anywhere near that. I pretend it doesn't even exist.
It's really cool technology. I think it's going to eventually, I don't really know how close we are to actual autonomous driving, but if you've ever driven a car that has like a fully functional ADAS system on it, like they're a lot of fun to drive, because you can literally be hands off, I don't know. I can get, not that I do any of this stuff, but like the first car I drove that had a fully functional ADAS system was it was a 14 MDX, because I worked for Acura at the time as an employee, and then they didn't have like the touch sensors in the steering wheel, so you could literally be completely hands-free, and it would drive and it would steer and it would come to a stop and it would go and do all of that for you. Now they have touch sensors in them. So you have to physically have some contact with the steering wheel. But, my wife and I, we were out, on the east side of the state this past weekend. It's like there's 10 times as many people on the east side than there is on the west side. And like my car stopped for me a half dozen times because I was just distracted. So like if that stuff isn't working correctly and you smash into somebody, attorneys are learning that, hey, okay, this car hit you. What kind of car was it? What is it equipped with this? Yep, it is. Well, was it working correctly? I don't know. Well, let's assume it wasn't. I want to see service records. And then they'll say, oh, it was crashed or they had the windshield replaced. Okay, well, who did the calibration? Oh, well, we didn't have it done. Or it was like, here's the calibration stuff. Here's the stuff for like we have Altel, and it gives you pre and post scans and the like pictures of every single step of the way, and whether it passes or fails, and the specs of where it's supposed to be and the specs of where it actually is, and the specs of where it was prior to. And if you don't have that and you get into an accident, like I haven't heard of any significant lawsuits around this yet, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time, at least in Michigan.
So here's my example of why it's a matter of time. And I don't like, earlier before we started recording, I actually mentioned how I don't like fear tactics.
Right.
I don't. I actually have a knee jerk opposite response to fear tactics. You try to make me afraid of something, I'm going head first in, right? And so that's just kind of how I am. But uh, I read a full length. I read a lot of information about a series of lawsuits that were happening against restaurants in the Philadelphia area. This was pre-COVID. Um, and these restaurants were being sued because their websites were not ADA compliant. They were not compatible for the blind. The website, the visual thing on the screen, like, the, what do we do? But there is code that you can put up that makes it more readable to an app that a blind person would have on their computer that would read them the website. So there are things that you can do, and I'm not suggesting that you need to be your websites as auto repair shop owners need to be compatible for the blind. That's kind of silly, but good job. But at the same time, like, are you really concerned about a blind person coming to you? Actually, with autonomous driving, maybe we're okay with it now. But like, no, it kind of, well, you even said in the last podcast panel that you were on, there's no such thing as common sense anymore. But I was just kind of overwhelmed that this was a trend that a couple lawyers had gotten into, and now they were targeting restaurants around Philly because they found one. And I don't want to be the first. I wouldn't want any shops that I know of to be the first one that gets found out due to a lack of calibrating, making sure that those sensors are aligned and correct after you've made an adjustment or even the most minor of shifts to it, because that's all it takes. But I really think that I really think there's an education issue, not just in the customer base, but also with shop owners about this topic.
Yeah, I mean, the client education is one thing. The shop owner education is another thing. I mean, it doesn't help anyone. Like, I can tell my client, hey, this is what's required, and they'll call the dealer up the road, and the dealership will be like, you don't need to do that. Don't worry about it. And then we're like, yeah, you do. Like, here's the service information written by dealer or manufacturer A, B, and C saying it needs to be done. Well, I just got off the phone with them, and they said it doesn't need to be done.
Okay.
And I'm just like,
so either their manuals are lying or they're lying.
I mean, even like, let's just say, let's not just like throw them under the bus, and let's just say like they genuinely don't know either, because advisor training in dealer life is, I mean, I worked for dealers for 11 years before I bought my dad's place. I've never heard of advisors being trained there other than how to sell and how to use whatever their point of sale system is. So I'm sure there is, but like, I was never an advisor, but I never saw them. Whereas I saw all my other coworkers taking online training, going away for training, taking more online training, going away for training again. Like, I never saw that with an advisor. So other than, here's the new model, make sure we know the new model, make sure we know the maintenance on the new models, I don't know what they're taught.
Okay. All right. And how are your technicians actually knowing which car and which OEM, which bumper, which one needs to be calibrated? What are they looking to? Is it all inside of All Data or Shopware?
All Data has a really good system for it. I mean, they literally have their own icon in the top right corner. Once you get to punch the VIN in, it's like, I don't know the exact verbiage of it, but it's basically like ADAS calibrations. You need to click on that, and here's every single sensor that car has. And next to it is when it would need to be recalibrated after this repair, that repair, or whatever. So, like so it's very easy to use. And our advisors will use it too. Like, if they're like, I wonder if maybe he missed it, they'll just double check. And then sometimes they'll be like, okay, I don't 100% understand it either. So like, let's just walk the 30 feet back there real quick and double check. Because we don't want to be either A, not presenting it to them, or B, selling the work and then finding out after the fact it needs to be done. And then we're either trying to call and sell them something, or we're doing it for free.
Yeah. Right. So they say, no, the dealer down the street doesn't need it. And you say, well, that's not correct. And then what, they pick up their car and take it to the dealer, or
I would assume, because of like, we don't do things halfway. Like we're only,
if it needs to be done, it's going to be done.
yeah,
There's no option to defer
right.
in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay.
then you'll get the occasional person, well, I'll sign whatever I have to do. It's like, nope, we don't, that's not good enough, because it's not, you can't sign away the rights for whoever it is that you hit. Hopefully that never happens, but
No, you can't sign away the rights for who you're going to hit, and like you said, hopefully that doesn't happen. I get that, but aren't you? But when you sign, aren't you just putting the onus, saying I'm taking responsibility and I'm relieving you of that responsibility?
I mean, we're the professionals in the group, in that conversation, and if we can't get that over to make the client understand that, then and I think that my staff is very, very good at that kind of stuff. And
Okay.
it's not selling anything. It's just giving them that education. And if the client doesn't want to receive it, then, I mean, we're just not going to do any of it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we've talked about what we haven't talked about yet? We haven't talked about that West Michigan group that you created with those 4 or 5 people initially.
Yeah.
And what was the initial mindset, and tell me how it's grown and what it is currently today.
So I think the end of this year I think it will be the end of 2 years. And we met originally just at this restaurant up the road from where I'm at. And I think there was 8 shop owners at the first meeting. We came up with the idea, like me and 2 other shop owners that, like, I would say, like, the 3 of us are pretty tight. Well, okay, we need to do this. I think that
And do this. What is this?
Just
West Michigan Auto Group
put
is it a
together a
buying
network
group?
of
Is it
shop
a
owners.
collaboration?
I'm sorry?
Is it a buying group? Is it a collaboration?
No,
Is it an education
it doesn't
group?
cost any money for anybody to do
No,
it.
but I mean, are you pulling your resources together to get better discounts
Yeah,
from
so
vendors?
I mean, we literally started doing that last month.
So no, that wasn't the initial
No.
intent. The initial intent was just, let's be friends.
Let's network.
Okay.
I mean, I even go back like 10 years when I bought my dad's place out. I mean, I purposely didn't get to know any of the shops around me. And I mean, there's no kidding, 200 bays of auto repair between me and a mile up the road. Okay. Like, and I made no attempt to get to know any of them at all, because 10 years ago, it was still, like clients trying to pin one shop against the other. Well, they said this, or I just had a bad experience there. What do you think about it? And if I didn't know them, I could look at my client in the eye and be like, I don't know. I don't know anything about them. They've been around longer than me. So, like all of my staff knows, like, my stance is you never, ever, ever say anything negative about another shop, even if it's true. You just don't. So, after 8.5 years.
So what do you say when you know something is the case? What do you end up saying?
I don't know who did that made that repair, ma'am or sir, but it definitely wasn't like an up to par repair. If you want it corrected, this is what it's going to cost. What would you like us to do? But when then they start to say, well, I had it done at this place. No, doesn't matter. Like, I don't want to know. I didn't ask. But if this was a workmanship issue, this wasn't the part failed. It was a quality of install concern.
Okay.
So, it's kind of,
all right. Let's get back to the West Michigan group. So don't talk bad about other shop owners. Even like, you avoid pointing what's going on or who did it. I don't want to know. But you're still going to tell them what's what. You're still going to be transparent with them with what you're seeing. But you try to avoid. I don't want to hear who the shop owner is. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind hearing who the shop owner is, because then I could go back to my friend Harry down the street and be like, hey, listen, I got one of your comebacks.
So that
could be a benefit of the West Michigan group, right?
That ended up being kind of what ended up happening. So like I wanted to, and myself and Eric and Elijah really wanted to try to just build up the industry as a whole. Like we had just come back from Vision, I think, and like that networking amongst those 4,000 techs and owners and advisors was amazing. It was 4 days of like fantasticness. I mean, not the right word, but like it was so great. So I'm like, if we can get like a really, really dumbed down version of that here and we meet periodically together, then you know, yeah, we meet. Yeah, the intent was to meet once a month, and that's pretty much the idea. Um, and then it was, I mean, it pretty quickly grew to, well, there's a training event going on in Grand Rapids, which is like the next town over, and Rick White's going to be here. Why don't we see if he'll give us like a Friday night to what he's going to do on Saturday? So we're just like, all right, like, okay, now we've been together for 3 months. If he charges, who's going to pay for it? And we'll just like, well, like, let's all just say we'll pay $50. Like, I don't know if that's enough or not or too much, but so I don't remember who reached out to Rick, but he was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm going to be there anyway. I just got to get picked up from my hotel, brought to where I'm going and brought back. And then, I got to eat, whatever. He was on a special diet at the time because he was recovering from something or I don't remember that, but he's like, I need this for dinner. I'm like, fine. Well, otherwise I'm going to do it for free. And I'm like, okay. So we ended up meeting at my buddy's place in Zealand because he had the room. Cause I think we had 100 people there that night. And that was shop owners, advisors, techs, managers, anybody that wanted to come and just learn about how to not, or how to be like a good, moral, ethical person in the automotive repair spot. And, it was fantastic. And then from there, it snowballed really quick. Um, I don't remember. One of the guys put together a Facebook page, um, made me an admin of it. And I think now we have 4 or 5 admins on it now. Um, any shop owner can be in there. We've expanded now because there's a couple people that have multiple shops, or like the managers can be in it as well. Um, the only caveat is like you have to answer the 2 questions, which is, are you a shop owner? If not, what's your role? And then what shop is it? And if you won't answer those questions, then we're not going to let you in. Like, because that's the purpose. Like and we want you to be like in the West Michigan area. So like from Lansing over. Now, you know, being the industry that it is, like it's not black and white. So like pretty quickly, like one of the guys that I met at Vision is in Ohio, and he's like, we don't have anything like this here. We don't have any training. Can I be in it? I'm like, definitely, no problem. So he went, because on top of all of this, then we started having training for techs on a monthly basis as well. So we got tech training through one of our part suppliers. So like we would get that basically for free as well. And we started it out where every, I don't know, was it the second or third Thursday or whatever, every month it was at my place. And we would bring dinner in because the shop was air conditioned. So if it's August, it was comfortable versus when it was some sweatbox somewhere. So we would have tech training for free for like what I said, like whatever it was, the second or third Thursday or whatever of every month. So we had techs from, initially it was just my shop. And then it was some of these shops that were farther away. So like the owners weren't concerned about me trying to poach their techs. And then I just started like, this is ridiculous. So I literally started going shop to shop up the road. And I'm like, this is what's happening. This is what's coming to my place. If you guys want to come, it's free. And a majority of them were like, we're good. We don't need training. I already know everything. And I'm just like, okay, well, here it is. This is what it is. If nothing else, you can come and get, like this week it's Noodles and Company. You can come and get some free spaghetti and lasagna or whatever. Some of them showed up. A couple of the shop owners were like, get out of here. You're just going to try to poach my techs. And I'm just like, then I won't be there. Like they can come and I won't be there. I won't be present at all. It'll be just the techs and Rob, the trainer. That's it. And that helped get a couple people more in. And then those shop owners then quickly were like, okay, he's really not trying to poach my people. He's really trying to help the industry better, make the industry better. And then the owners would come to the owner stuff. And yeah, we went from 4 to 8 to 20 to I think we have 105 members in that group right now.
Wow, that's great. All right, so look, I'm going to make up a random name. Let's say that you know Tim from down the street who owns a shop.
Yeah.
And and you decide that you're hiring a 7th technician. And you know that Bob, who works for Tim, is now Bob applies, and you see on his resume or his application that he currently works at Tim.
Yeah.
You're friends with Tim in the West Michigan group. What does that look like?
So, like that happens very, very quickly.
I bet it because you just got done saying you're not going to poach their techs.
Right.
Don't be lying.
Yeah. So it happened really quick. So, I called the owner up. I'm like, hey, this guy just applied for a job here. What I would like to do is like, hey, I want to bring you in for an interview, and then immediately tell him, like, listen, I'm not going to hire you, and here's why. However, if you want to leave because of it, like you think I'm going to pay you $1 or $5 more an hour, and then like that's different. But like, is there something that's going on at that shop that I can help correct? Like, is there a culture issue? Any of those things. In fact, before I hired Nicole, I interviewed 2 advisors that unknowingly applied for the same job that were coworkers at a shop up the road. I interviewed both of them, did exactly what I said I was going to do, what I told you I did. And they both were like, the culture it's horrible. Everybody pisses and moans about everything all day, and I just can't do it anymore. And at that time, like I had known the owner for like 10 minutes. And I called them up and like, hey man, like this is what I said I would do. So this is what I'm doing. And this is who I interviewed. And this is what happened. I'm not telling you this because I want you to reprimand these people or any of those things. But like when I hear poor culture, I feel like that's a potential for somebody to leave the industry. And I know the shop name is solid in our community. So I'm like, whatever it is, it's not transitioning out to the clients yet. So if I can help nip it in the bud somehow, then, or help improve it somehow, then that's what I'll do. Even though I guess theoretically, yes, we're competition because we're a mile apart. But I just think there's more than enough cars to go around. And, to lose somebody who's good and talented to a different industry, then I think like me as an owner loses and him as an owner loses and all the other owners lose.
So in that particular situation, what happened? Was he able to, did he stick that, did that employee stay with them?
So
did he change his culture?
Both of those employees were with them for like probably 6 months still. One of them still is. One of those 2 people left because of like other issues. Like, he kind of told me in confidence, like some of the other issues that were going on. And I'm like, okay, like I get it. But,
yeah,
I had seen this other person that I had interviewed. They'd been back to my place for different training events. And I'm like, hey, like, how's it going? And they're like, it's so much better. And I had nothing to do with it. Like, I didn't like go and sit and talk and have lunch with anybody. I think it's just like all of a sudden it became aware. They were aware of it.
All right. So I got to tell you, you're giving me very interesting ideas for future shop owner panels that we have on the Garage Grit podcast. We talked a little bit about whether or not, transitioning from one type of pay to another and just sharing different experiences with other shop owners about that. And what I just heard as another potential opportunity for another panel conversation is how to form a West Michigan repair shop.
I don't know that.
Right? I mean, and not specifically West Michigan. I'm not trying to duplicate exactly what you have, but I'm saying in general, grab the 10 or 15 or 20 other shops in your area, if you're not already doing that, and the goal doesn't just have to be about training. The goal doesn't just have to be about a buying group. The goal could just be about networking and support and allow it to evolve for your area around there. But it could mean the retention of your own employees.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could mean if you have enough of a good, strong networking bond with other shop owners, it could mean the retention of your own employees.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a fun story right there.
yeah, I know. And like the tech that applied and the two advisors that applied, I mean, it was within a month or two, I think, probably, of like me getting in front of the group and just being like, this is what we're about. This is not what we want to do. And then it happened, I guess, whatever you want to say, to me or to them, but I was involved in the situation at both times. Like I called up Eric and Elijah, kind of we're the three of us kind of our sounding board for each other. And Eric was like, how did you get yourself involved in this? And I'm like, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. But, um, I I told all three of the people. The tech, I think, was kind of upset because he drove from 15, 20 minutes away. I'm like, I know that you're talented. At least, the conversation I had with the tech was, I know you're talented. So like, what's different about that place versus this place? Because you don't know me at all. And you've worked at this other shop for 4 years. So like, and he's like, well, the shop's air conditioned. I'm like, okay, fine. But like, what happens if tomorrow the air conditioning breaks? Does that mean I hired you, you're going to quit? Like there's something going on. Like, talk to me about what's going on. Like, this can make tomorrow better for you, because like if you enjoy where you work, not that you're going to work for free or for some significantly discounted rate, but it sure makes the day to day a whole lot better.
What was the problem with that situation? It was also
there was some culture stuff. I mean, like, I knew like there was something like he wasn't telling me. So I just like pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And I finally was like, you're not telling me the truth. Like, you got, like, be honest with me. And then he came out and he said, he's like, well, he won't let me like smoke pot on my lunch. And I'm like, yeah, okay, there's nothing we can do about that. So,
because I'm
not going to, and, like, now I know your name as opposed to just the guy that works for this other individual. And like, I mean, if anybody calls me and asks me, I'm going to be like, he's a giant pothead. And like, whatever you do at your own time, I guess, is your thing. But like, to quit a job because my boss won't let me smoke pot at work, like, that's, yikes. I was,
you know what else? I don't want you to chug in alcohol on the job either.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, come on, my goodness.
At the end of the day, like I had that conversation.
I'm sorry. My mind is blown on that. Doesn't he have to do test drives?
Yeah, I would think. I mean, we all guys do, but
okay.
Yeah. And that's, and then like, once he told me that, I'm like, and I said a lot of the same things, like, let's, even though I hate the term, like, let's try to use some common sense here a minute. And he's just like, doesn't matter. I should be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I'm like, okay, never mind. This isn't really a shop.
No, I mean, I guess you could start your own shop and call it pot.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's those for people who aren't really exposed to it. They get, if you sat in their car after you, they know. Let's see that on the review. I picked up my car and it smelled like marijuana. Yeah. Imagine that review. Yeah. Good luck getting that off of Google. Yeah. It's not coming off.
No way. No.
Right? My goodness, protect your shop. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's it.
So yeah. So I that was a very, very easy conversation.
All right. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. What name one more benefit of West Michigan of having a collaboration, type group?
I mean, not that you're gonna necessarily share every single shop tool, but if there is some crazy expensive tool that's actually portable, like maybe you can share stuff like that, or it's, hey, I need this special tool. I ordered it, but I need it for this job right now. I can't get it for 4 days. And I have done that. Everybody has done that in that group. And within 15 minutes, somebody's like, I have it. One of my employees is heading that way for a doctor's appointment or something silly. Like, it's all like happenstance. He'll drop it off. We had a Friday afternoon where like it just like everything went amazing. And our lead tech was ready to leave on a Friday at like 3 or 2. And one of our shop owners, and I mean, it was so slow. I think it was him and I were the only ones left for that afternoon. Like everybody was like hyper efficient. So the shop was clean. Everybody had left. He was just finishing up. So I'm literally scrolling through Facebook on a Friday afternoon. And one of the guys is like, hey, can anybody help me or tell me how to program this ABS module on this 2023 Ford? You know, like for whatever reason, like he didn't have it, or like the FDRS was down or whatever. So I'm just like, hey, Andrew, do you want to go to Zealand? You live a half an hour, 45 minutes that way, but will you drive 25 minutes the other direction first? You can say no. Like, I haven't volunteered you for anything yet. And he's like, no, I'll go do that. No problem. So he's like, well, how much do I charge him? I'm like, you can charge him whatever you want. You get to keep the money. Like Rosema's Car Care is not benefiting from this. This is Andrew gets to benefit because this other shop needs a hand. So it was less than 5 minutes after he asked the question. Andrew was in the car on the way out there to program this board for him. And I don't know. I to this day, like, I don't even know what he paid him. You know, because he asked me, he's like, how, no, the other shop is like, how much is it going to be? I'm like, you and Andrew figure it out. Like, I'm not worried about it. Like, I paid for my yearly subscription already to Ford. Like, it's fine. So whether that was 50 or 100 or $200, I have no clue. But, you know,
what I'm hearing from you is that with these types of groups, when you learn to put others first, you get the benefit.
Everybody wins.
Everybody's winning. When everyone's got the attitude of putting others first or helping others, it's that's a great that's a great thought. And I think that's gonna
go ahead. I was just saying, everybody likes to hear, you know, thank you, and you know, hey, you're whatever you want to say, exaggerated. Like everybody wants to hear, hey, you're amazing. You know, you're fantastic. I can't believe you're willing to do this kind of stuff. But it's also really nice to hear, you know, and this is the first thing Andrew said to me on Monday morning. He's like, it was really cool when I got there. And they were like, Kory is great. I can't believe he's doing this for me. And I'm like, no, it's just like being a good person. You know, it's
being a good person.
It's not about the $100 or the $200, or even if it's $1,000 or $5,000, like that's all short-term rewards.
Yeah. Let's be in it for the long term.
Yeah.
Let's be in it for the long term and help others as much as possible. And that's also the point of the Garage Grit podcast. And so that's what we're trying to do here, is trying to help as many shops as possible as well. So I think that's actually kind of a good note to end on. Just a nice upbeat, you know, positive. Guys listening to this podcast, go see who you can help. And who knows what will come of it, and it might not be tomorrow, but it will. It
probably will be tomorrow. So that's the thing, you know. If
it could be that fast.
If you look for it, it'll be tomorrow, you know. And that, again, that it doesn't mean you're working for free. You know, that's what a lot of people think. It's like, well, if I help, that means I'm working for free. It's like, very rarely is that the case. Very rarely is that the case. I would even say that's an exception, not the rule.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. Kory, thank you for being here on the episode of the Garage Grit podcast. And if you are listening in and you are wondering where to get more, I mean, you need to be subscribed to us on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also jump into the Garage Grit podcast Facebook group and kind of continue a conversation after you've heard either a shop owners panel or this one. But we're dropping episodes twice a week right now, on Tuesdays and Thursdays usually. Now this coming holiday season, Thursday, you got Thanksgiving, and Christmas, I think, is also on a Thursday this year, if I remember correctly. We're not dropping episodes on those days. Those days are family. Go spend time with your families. And then the other day, spend time with your auto repair shop family. Guys, thank you. Kory, thank you for being on our guest. I thank you for your time.